Hey guys, welcome back to Beast Quest, Series 7, Book 1, Conville the Cold-Blooded Brute. No, the Cold-Blooded Brute. Bit of a tongue twister. But here we are with Series 7, finally. I've been looking forward to this one because, well, after getting Tom's mom back, it's been interesting to wait for this book, and finally they're here, so let's go on with it. Tom and his friends discover that there are some twisting changes when they arrive to find that their kingdom is kind of different. They go to find King Hugo at King Hugo's palace, but he's not there. He's not there apparently, and he and the guards, they're wearing different armor. They're wearing like black armor. Turns out that the king is really Malvel. Nice to see him again. Well, not really. After Series 4, apparently he's now the king of this kingdom, because this kingdom is not really Avatia, it's called Tavania, sort of play on words, like Velmal and Malvel. So Malvel is now the king of this kingdom called Tavania. Malvel claims that Mark is responsible for the havoc, and he, of course, takes away his magic and kills Mark, the apprentice of Adaro. So it's the first time we actually see one of the main cast killed off, which is very sad to see. And it just goes to show how eviler Malvel has become. He's not allowing any other wizards, and he puts the heroes in the dungeon. And he explains that 6 beasts are in his kingdom and that they're causing problems. So this tells us that these beasts have nothing to do with Malvel. The whole beast plot is nothing to do with him. So he's going to try and either stop it, or he's going to let these beasts run amok. Either way, I don't really care what he does, because it'll just add something to him. Keep Tom busy anyway. But, moving on to that, the fact that it's explained that how this happened is, in the dungeon, Tom and his friends are piecing together what is going on, and they meet some other twisted characters. First, they meet Dalaton, who's basically the counterpart of Taladon, spoken differently, who's a gruff soldier who does believe Malvel is a strict king, but he's a soldier, so he has to do what he's told. Next, we meet another character called Oradu, who's obviously the Adaro counterpart, and he's basically the same old wizard type. And he explains what's going on. That the portal Tom had taken had disrupted the balance between realms and affected this one by bringing 6 beasts to Tavania who are lost and confused and are going mad with rage. Which also explains there was another ruler called King Henry until Malvel took over. Dalaton heard the commotion and Eleanor provided a distraction even though Oradu had already gone. Eleanor managed to swipe the keys and they were ready to bust out. Now I want to say something right here. Tom right now is feeling responsible for the whole portal incident by taking the portal. But here's a theory I have. What if maybe Malvel took a portal too, and that also interfered with the realms, creating this alternate beast problem? That could have been a thing. So I just want to put some of that blame off Tom. Maybe that happened. I mean, they don't say it, but it's like an open thing. You can make up your own ideas here. So I'm just saying it's not really specified that specifically Tom's all his fault. Anyway, moving on. Tom and friends break out of prison. Tom gets himself a rusted sword and shield because Malvel took his weapons away. So he doesn't have his full power with him, which is good, which makes him not as an OP character. But he's still got his belt with jewels on it, which would do for now. Frey, of course, stays behind trying to convince Dalaton to become the next champion of the king that Tavania needs. Tom is reluctant to do so since he got his mom back after two seasons. I mean, Series 5 and 6. But she wants her own goals, and she does that. So they leave her. Tom feels guilty about leaving his mom, but he promised he'd return. So to discover, Oradu used his last magic to create a map to find the beasts. First was Conville, who was near a desert, and he has no image. He's in the place called the Scarlet Sands. So they prepare water until it's one of Malvel's tricks. The water comes alive and pulls Eleanor in. Tom rescues Eleanor and reaches the desert, where they are encountered by the destruction what Conville has caused, killing a cactus, a mule, and a small village. However, there are some survivors, and Tom sees that they're being watched by somebody. Turns out that Tom and friends encountered a young boy who explains the beast's appearance, and he also explains that he's guarding an oasis so they can't get any water. So it's the desert, and they can't, without the water, they're gonna die. All the survivors, that is. So they go to the oasis, and Conville attacks, and it's revealed that he is a giant lizard. Even the boy said what he was. So Tom fights Conville for quite some time. Eventually it becomes clear Conville was near the oasis because, like lizards, he thrived on water as much as Tom and his companions did. However, it seems too late, as Eleanor had already lured Conville towards the oasis, and she had no idea of Tom's latest discovery, and Tom could hear Malavel's cruel laughter as Conville was going for the kill. Tom stopped the attack just in time and told Eleanor of his news. In their second round, Tom knew they had to get Conville back through the portal. However, their many bashes and blows, Tom's weapons were breaking to bits, and he got splintered in his skin as his wounded state. Eleanor distracted Conville, allowing Tom to put the finishing blow on Conville. Tom, of course, was brought back. Conville was brought back through the portal, and Orator appeared in an aura form to explain that every time you beat a beast, my magic will go stronger and stronger to eventually I can help fight against Malvel. And he tells them that their next opponent is a fiery foe. Also, the people are grateful that you beat the beast and now we can drink water again. And I like the fact that Conville in this book was more of, he had an understanding for what he was doing. He was a lizard, and he wasn't in his natural environment. The portal landed him into the middle of a desert, and he had to find the closest source of water he could to keep going alive. So it made sense why he was guarding the oasis. But now he's gone back to his proper home, and now the people can live peacefully in there. So this is a good season of called The Lost World, I think it is. So yeah, which is a nice fitting title. So I really like this. So this has been book 1, and look forward to next time against with a fiery opponent. I think I know what book beast that is. So next time, guys, book 2. Hey guys, welcome back to Beast Quest, Series 7, Book 2, Helion the Fiery Foe. And like many books, this beast has a name that's hard to pronounce. So like when I did Epos, I called him Epos because I thought it was a boy, but it's really a girl. So in my review, you'll hear that saying, and it's really called Epos. So there's that. But I'm pronouncing his name as Helion because 2 L's, and if you don't pronounce it that, you can call him Helion. But I don't pronounce him that because of the 2 L's. So Helion it is. So Tom and friends successfully beat Conville and are thanked by the villagers, even the boy for giving with the cloak, being thanked for the cloaks. And that changed when they learnt that the next beast was in the Forest of Doom, when they encountered stone terrain which was blocking their path in front of them. The stones had formed a maze Tom used in his past experience with a previous quest with Vidra and Crymon, a special book, to solve a maze and puzzle, and they ventured forth, heading to the Forest of Doom. On the there is one plot hole here. In this chapter, which is merely in the drawings, Tom is shown that with his magic shield, which I've seen for this book, but Tom really shouldn't have that. So that's a thing. What else? And Tom is shown, yeah. Because in the beginning of the series, says he got his magic shield taken away, and the drawings show that he has it. Which is a bit confusing there. Anyway, Tom and Eleanor face off against a stag and feel sorry for the creature, confused and lost by the raging fire. After losing him off, and Tom and Eleanor use water to soak up from the beast. If he'll use it on them, and also going to Eleanor's past, we discover how her deceased parents died in sort of a fire accident. And another plot hole here: a book ago it said that Malvo controls Tavania's waters, but Tom and Eleanor bathed in the Forest of Doom lakes and were fine. So anyway, the group head off to, so there's 2 plot holes in this book right now. But moving along, Tom and friends encounter a large fireball, which they took cover in a redwood tree, which was immune to the fire, to protect Storm and Silver. After meeting the next beast, Helion, thanks to Tom's red jewel, they tried to fight him off, but it was no good. Eventually, Helion caught his attention to their animal companions, and Eleanor was worried they'd share the same fate as her parents, but luckily they didn't, as they escaped in time. But this gave Tom an idea, but a risky one, to use his animal friends as bait. Tom explained the plan to Eleanor, who took it rather calmly, and after more dodging and evading, Tom dismounted and decided to taking a risk to lure Storm to Helion over towards the lakes. So he takes Storm and lead Helion to the lakes. After some alluring, they managed to get Helion on the jetty, and it collapsed, weakening Helion tremendously. But also Storm still had the saddle on him, which was weighing him down, and Tom tried to rescue, but it was pulling him down as well. Tom and Storm managed to get out of it, dodge weak fireball from Helion, but hit Storm's mane. Tom saw a net in the lake, goes to get it. After some distraction from Eleanor, he puts the net over Helion, and instead of finishing, he shows him mercy, and Helion understands this due to the red jewel, and the fight is over. The portal takes Helion back home, leaving them a hat, which is Orodu's. Orodu shows up, of course, and he claims the next beast with one word. Well, he doesn't say what the next beast is, he just says one word, Crestor, and they assume that's the beast next they're gonna fight. Orodu leaves, and the items are placed in the saddlebag. Tom sees the stag he fought earlier with a wounded leg, and he feels sorry for the creatures but Malvo is causing destruction. These beasts are realistically the cause of it, but he feels this would have happened anyway due to Malvo's evil reign of terror. So this has got to stop. But where do I stack up Helion compared to the first book? First of all, I was gonna say this was gonna be better than it, but there are 2 plot holes that narrowed it down. One was, I said before, with the shield darting, and the second one was with, if the waters, in the first book it is said, there was a chapter where the waters attacked Eleanor in Conville, but in this book the waters are fine in the Forest of Doom, of all things. So those plot holes sort of drag it down. So due to that, and how fast the beast was taken down in this one, it was like, oh, he's fiery, we run away. And then, oh, we risk our lives taking him to the lake, and then boom, he's out. He's weak, we take him out, put the net over him, he's captured. It's pretty straightforward with this one, so I'm going to put this the weakest book of Series 7 for me so far. Which is odd, because I figured Conville might be the weakest book ever, but no, it's not. Apparently Helion is. But this is just my opinion, guys. So, join us next time as we fight the next beast called Crestor. Hey guys, welcome back to Beast Quest, Series 7, Book 3, Crestor, the Crushing Terror. This has got to be the best book of Series 7 so far for me. And to be honest, that was not really much of a challenge so far, because Conville was the introduction, and Helion was pretty much garbage to me. But you can see my reviews on those books if you want to. But this is about Crestor, so let's go. Tom and friends have beaten Helion, but Storm has gotten hurt on his mane. Helena heals him with some herbs and some water, but a plot hole. Again, they were still using Tavania's water. I thought Malvo had control of the water. But right here is clearly stated that the beasts are in the areas of Tavania. So they are So they are from this kingdom, but these portals have been like vacuums, sucking them in spots and taking them somewhere else in Tavania. And it seems would only be able to return if defeated in combat. Anyway, Tom and friends ride off until they encounter an earthquake. Tom and friends escape the tremors along with some forest animals. However, a bunny gets closed into a chasm in a tragic scene. How a little animal dies and how you got to prevent this kind of stuff from happening. It gets worse when Storm is about to go down and tries to stop him from falling, but the lever was hurting her hands. She gave way and Storm fell, which is another great scene in Chapter 2. How Helen doesn't want Storm to go down the chasm, but her hands are ring. It's really making it, and the way I portrayed it was really awesome, so that was good. Chapter 3, Tom uses inner strength to rescue Storm and Eleanor, making a cold compress after night. Tom and friends reach the castle and encounter a sword from left one of Malvel's soldiers, which Tom could use as a weapon after his loss of his previous sword against Helion. They approached a boy who would not let them go by. Alright. In Chapter 4, Tom explains they pose no threat. They pay him a gold coin in exchange for keeping an eye on their animals. However, after investigating an infirmary, they discover that they have wanted posters and Malvel has placed a bounty on their heads, like back in Naga. So I like the fact that we have a callback to the previous adventures in, was it Gorgonia? It could be Gorgonia where the bounty was. And how it's the third book, I think Naga was the third book, how it does that. And it's purple and it's like a sea creature. Kind of ironic, they have all those good callbacks to Naga there, but awesome. People surrounded Tom and Eleanor and they explained Malvel's forces were here and put the poster here to find you. And now that they were planning to now that they're here, they're planning to bring them to Malvel. But Tom says Malvel is a liar, and since Malvel isn't the rightful king, of course he agrees. But instead, the men plan to kill them instead. Right. Tom and Eleanor are sent to Lord Osric. Oh, this is my favourite scene in the whole book, probably. Tom and Eleanor are sent to Lord Osric, who was sitting by his wounded son, who was poisoned by one of Malvel's soldiers, who was searching for Tom. The Lord hated what Tom had caused, but Eleanor made a similar bargain from previous quests, healing a wounded in exchange for services of any kind. After some hope and some great character from Lord Osric, who I love this character, who I instantly liked, the more I read. Tom gave his trust to the people and told them the truth about he was on a quest. And even though they already allowed to go free, he told them about the beasts. The son told them an evil source what Tom might be seeking, so they headed out. While Lord Osric wanted the message spread that Tom and friends have full access to their domain, and he wished they luck on their quest. So I really like that chapter of Lord Osric. He's a great character. Tom and friends wonder why Malvel didn't use the magic and just catch them, but use his magic and catch them. But Tom knew Malvel well enough personally that he'd want to toy around with Tom and friends, that can easily capture them, which lowers my expectations I have for Malvel, because I pictured him as like the better villain than Velmal, because he wanted to take over the kingdom and rule everything, and that way he was more of a threat. He didn't just threaten Tom, he threatened everyone by doing what he does. But now showing how he does things, the way he plays his cards, it really lowers demeanor and it makes me go back to Velma as my favourite villain of the two. So that's my choice in villains. Where am I? Anyway, they eventually passed some stone columns and wondered why some areas that should be giving water weren't. Tom assumed it was something to do with the portals, but eventually they encountered acid, not knowing what was causing it. But they assumed Crestor was near. Silver was led to a nest and sensed something. Tom and Eleanor climbed up to see it was chicks in the nest that survived the acid attack. We assumed the parents died in the acid attack. However, as Tom noticed a mossy boulder, Eleanor whispered, "Crestor is underneath Tom." Turns out Crestor was the boulder, and the fight got underway, revealing the hard camouflage capabilities and the acid attack. Despite the field's advantage, Crestor managed to wound Tom, damage his shield, capture Silver in his coils, and make Eleanor run out of arrows. A rock slide happened in the fight, which separated Eleanor and Silver away from the Crestor and Tom. Tom asked her to gather her arrows while he tried to use his sword, but Crestor blasted the tip right off. Tom now had to rely on his own belt powers, the one from Tusk, which gave him the better fighting skill. But this really shows how awesome Crestor is as a beast. He has a field disadvantage, but he still has. Oh yeah, Tom. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. He has a field disadvantage, but he still is able to capture. He's very smart how he captures Silver. He does stuff to Tom. He does stuff to Eleanor because Storm's down there. He's able to fend off all three of them at once. So probably one of the most powerful beasts I've seen, or the one who's smart and cunning. So I like that. He's not like the strongest, but he's like the smart and cunning. So I like that. Tom came up with a plan to defeat Crestor by using his own acid attack against him, and with the help of a rock slide, he managed to do it. Finally, Crestor was sent back home. Tom acquired the magic staff for Oridu, and he grew stronger, while it's explained that Malvo grows weaker by every item they gain. Next, they'll be fighting Madara, or whatever. Alright, so next they'll be fighting Madara. I'll call it that for now, until I think of the real name, or the name that I suit for it, back in the next book, for book 4. But that is Crestor, the Crushing Terror. You see why it's my favourite book. All the there is a few plot holes, but that's stuff I mentioned before. But how awesome the beast fought, how it affected the world, and how awesome that chapter of Lord was. It's easily titled to give its #1 spot as my favourite book in Series 7 so far. Next time, Madara. Hey guys, welcome back to Beast Quest. Last time I said the name wrong. Last time I said Madara, but actually I think of a better name. Madara, the Midnight Warrior. And this is book 4, so, what are my thoughts? Well, this one is a tie with Crestor. Hard to believe, eh? But yes, book 4 of Series 7 is a tie with Crestor. And now we're going to the plot so I can explain why. Tom was exhausted from fighting Crestor, but he and his friends had to move on to fight the next beast, Madara. They were about to look at the map, but that was not needed at the portal. There was no need, because they were already at the portal. Malavel used his magic to control the winds to pull the heroes apart. They held on tightly when suddenly Solar got angry. Tom and friends managed to fend off against terrible tumbleweeds. Then when they headed further through the storm, they encountered 2 soldiers who were working for Malvel. The soldiers thought that they had Tom and friends captured, but the situation changed fast as Solo was ordered to attack, and they had complete control of the next move. Tom, of course, says he's no murderer like Malvel, but the soldiers tell them of an army that is seeking them. Tom investigates, and after talking with Eleanor, they decided to steal their captured's armor and slip through her soldiers. Eleanor dirted her face up with Storm, dirted her face up so she looked like a man, and Storm and Silver were their supposed captors. It was a brilliant plan, I must admit. So yeah, I really agree with that, because it's not really. It just shows to show how creative Tom could be as a hero. So they tied the soldiers to a tree, and they headed towards the army. Tom and Eleanor explained to a guard they had captured Silver and Storm. They told which direction they came from, which was obviously a lie, because it's like which direction they didn't come from, of course. It's good work on their part. Tom and Eleanor tie their animals up and join the soldiers in a fire, and we see how hard it's been for the soldiers to work for Malvel. Some wanted King Henry back, others may not have. Only reason why they worked for Malvel was obvious for their own survival. The soldiers got hungry and headed for Storm and Silver. Tom and Eleanor convinced the army not to eat them, and Eleanor, as having them alive, will lure Tom and Eleanor, I put that in quotes, here, because they're already here. Eleanor puts a sleeping draught in the stew, which knocks the remaining soldiers surrounding them out. She knocks out the soldiers surrounding them out, and they gather some weapons, bread, and left the army behind. They encountered a dead cattle and eventually a wounded horse rider. Tom and friends discover him to be a cattle rustler desperate for food, and they take the rope and tools that he has, which might be useful. Then Silver sensed something. It was Madara. Tom and friends fought Madara, and she did not overpower them as much as Crestor, but she was very evasive and defensive, because of her fur, which could turn into crystal for a limited amount of time. She knew when to use it. However, Madara got Eleanor in her mouth, which in mouth reach was rare to see. However, Eleanor was okay. Her chamber protected her, and she played dead to trick Madara. When Tom noticed his spear, he needed to get close to using his white jewel from Kaimon. He used his shadow to distract Madara, and Madara tailed it, and Eleanor reunited with Tom. Calling back the shadow, they readied for battle, but how long could they keep it up? Which is good, because Madara wasn't like Crestor. Crestor wanted to get the fight over and done with, so he saw what was there and got it out of the way quickly. Madara is not as, I wouldn't say she's as powerful as him, but she's very cunning and quick. So she has to sort of use what she has to her advantage. She was an evasive beast, and in order to take them down, she had to use defensive and evasive maneuvers. So that's how she worked. But I like how each beast was different. Yeah. So, where am I? Madara tailed it, and Eleanor Tom got back to Shadow. They're ready for that. No. Tom got to his second wind, and with Silver reunited, and with Eleanor using a sling to bash the crystal fur, Tom was managed to strike Madara and collapsed for mercy. Tom gave her that mercy, and she was lifted back through the portal home. Only this time, nothing came from the portal of Odoro's. Tom was unsure why nothing came through, but they checked on the wounded rider. He needed rest fully to recover, but then a falcon came alongside Orodu, and he was the token. He was token number 4. That's what was like Orodu's pet. Then Orodu shows up and says that the next beast to fight will be the most dangerous yet, but that message, and before he can say any more, the message is interrupted by the Malval's army. They have captured them and found them, and of course Tom eventually says we have to surrender, we're outnumbered. So it looks like that's a good cliffhanger there. That's where the book stops. So yeah, this book does have a few changes in it, and that's because of those changes. Oh, now this is hard. I want to say this is the best book, but is it though? Okay, you know what, F it. I'm going to say it's one step higher than Crestor, just by that little twist ending. Because they gave us some new elements, like nothing comes through the portal, then you think it's nothing, and then it's really the Falcon. And that ending sort of put a few points higher to it than Crestor did. So yeah, Madara is actually not... Yeah, Madara is not a tie, but she is my favourite book. And not to mention she's a cat beast, and I have a thing for cats, so there's that too. But next time I will be doing Elack, I believe his name is, if I'm not wrong. But that will take some time because I haven't got that book yet. I mean, I have the book, but it's the old model. So next time you'll be seeing me doing Elack, and that will be there. So till next time, guys. See you then. Hey guys, welcome back to Beast Quest, Series 7, Book 5, Elack the Lightning Horror. It's been a while, hasn't it guys, since we did Beast Quest, but I managed to finally get all of these new covers for Series 7 so I can finally do it. Series 8 right now is in its works, but never mind Season 8. All I'm going to say though is it might take a bit of time to get that out though. But let's get this over with. So, Book 5. Tom and friends are captured by Malval's soldiers, but not only that, turns out one of the soldiers was wounded by the boy's father. The boy they met in the battle with Madara, despite the warrior wanting to kill them because, like I said, that boy they saw was one of the soldiers' kids, so he wants to kill him. and he assumed they harmed the son. But the other soldiers remind him they are ordered to bring him to Malvel alive, and well, besides they also get money out of it for the capture. There is some reluctance from Storm and Silver, telling them to calm them down, and reminding them everything was going to be okay in the end. So then, Tom and friends ride along a convoy to Malvel's castle, so eventually they pull over as they have to rest for Malvel's castle because they're nearly halfway there, but they just camp for the night. So while the soldiers are preparing camp, Jude slowly gains some strength back and made conversation with Tom and Eleanor, explaining what needs to be done. Jude aided in the escape, convincing the guard to fetch him some food and water, allowing Tom and Eleanor to escape and free their animals while gaining some weapons. They headed out with a good luck from Jude. However, there is a plot hole. Why would the soldiers lock the prisoners with the soldier's son, who they believed attacked him? That just makes no sense to me. If it makes sense to you, you can, but why would you? I don't think it's a good idea to put the people you think who attacked him in the same thing, but that could be to me. Tom and friends escape and look at the map to find the location of the next beast, while also learning her name is Elack. And yes, Elack turns out to be a girl. I thought she was a boy, but no, she's a girl. She was in the misty jungle. There was also a lot of lightning coming from the jungle, so the team used lightning as a compass to lead them to the jungle, and eventually they encountered a stampede of jungle animals, all fleeing from the jungle, heading straight for them. Tom and friends avoid the stampede and search the jungle using one of Tom's jewels, memorizing the jungle area so they wouldn't be lost. However, it was quite quiet, not because of the animals that left. Something else made it feel eerie. They ventured forward to discover hundreds of animal corpses, and no doubt Aleck's rage. Tom blamed himself, believing if he was here quicker, probably he hadn't allowed them to be captured, they would have been able to stop Elack sooner. But Eleanor reminds him that it's not your fault, it's Malvel's doing, he's evil and all that. And more intended to defeat his old foe. There is another plot hole. Why would Eleanor say it's Malvel's fault when it's never specifically stated how this was caused? My theory was not only when Tom used the portals Malvel and Velmal did to find Velmal seemed to have a bit of control on. So Malvel, Velmal, and Tom used these portals, but Velmal had more control on them, and it seems to be both Tom and Malvel's unknowingly doing. So it's both their faults without them knowing. Even if Malvel did know, they don't care. Tom and friends approach a swamp and had no choice but to leave their animals behind. They tie themselves to a vine and cross through while Tom's sense of hearing pick up someone or something here, and there was only one logical thing: Elack was here. She lowered her head and into the swamp and breathed her blue light, which judged Tom and Eleanor. Tom and Eleanor were free by storm, and they decided to skip from rock to rock to cross the swamp. However, Elack had disappeared. Only thing they found of her was snake-like skin, assuming she shed it, also wondering how they would counter Elack's lightning power. Tom and friends discovered several caves and seek out the beast, only to find she was waiting in the background for them. There was a lightning storm going on, and they decided to use it on Elack. However, they were surprised the lightning didn't weaken but increase her power. Not one of the team's best moves. After all, they clearly describe how Elack looks like, and how she looks like, and that whole scene with them being captured in the swamp by Elack's blue light didn't give any hints that it was lightning, which is not so. It's not one of their smartest decisions. Tom and Eleanor tried their best to fight off Elack, but damaged Tom's shield after trying to outrun her. She was tired. The lightning had drained out, and Tom could finish her off with the mercy blow. But before that happened, another lightning bolt recharged her, and she began pursuing Tom again. Then Eleanor lipped the answer to Tom: caves. It made sense. If he could lure Elack into the caves, he could have contained. However, Elack received another bolt of lightning from the storm and chased Tom up the tree. Tom jumped from the tree, but lost both his sword and shield. Also no sign of Eleanor. He tried to lead Elack to the cave, When she was about to fire lightning on him, he was defenseless, but Eleanor came with Tom's shield, and they had to make a run for the caves to wear out Elack after throwing the rock to distract her. They gave a head start and tried to tire her out through the caves. She was at Tom's mercy finally after being tired out, and Tom granted her that mercy, enabling him to go for his move, and the portal activated so she could go home. However, the cave wall was collapsing in as Elack was being pulled out of the cave and suctioned by the portal. However, Tom and friends are safe, as the suction of the portal not only let Elack in, but the rocks as well. With Elack returned, Wizard Dad Oridu gained his magic cauldron. There was only one beast left. Oridu also told Tom that his mother was training Dalatom, still into Tavania's new champion, but the wizard faded and the team rode off to find the final beast. Overall, I wouldn't say it's the best book in Series 7. There are better ones, like the first book was better, I'd say. No, I'd say I take that back. Actually, this one is on par with the first one. Nothing is as bad as Helion, so it's on par with the first one. So it's equal to that. I would still say the best book so far was like a toss-up between Crestor or Madara. But we still have Carnivora to go, so I'm looking forward to that to wrap up Series 7. And this has been my review on Beast Quest Book 5 of Series 7, Elack, the Lightning Horror. Till next time, guys. Hey guys, welcome back to Beast Quest. And it's finally time to wrap up Series 7 with Carnivora, the winged scavenger. So, let's do this. Tom and Eleanor are now in snowy northern terrain of Tavania, and after eating they examine the map to find themselves in the frozen fields. Also, the portal near the fields was the biggest one yet, covering nearly the entire sky. Again, Tom blames himself, and this time makes a theory of how this happened, which is him using the portal to pop them up, then Mal took control of them and used them to mix the Tavania beasts up. It's a bit iffy, but I deny this theory, as well as Eleanor also thinks it's crap. And they also so Eleanor and I both think it's bullshit that Tom could do these things. But yeah, those are my thoughts on that. And they head to the small hut. No owner was there, but they left some coins to pay for coats and fishing spear, and outside was a large footprint of the beast, and Tom was wondering what else was out there. Tom and his friends follow the footprints, explaining what they'll do after they defeat the lost beast. However, the paw prints had disappeared near an icy lake. They had no choice but to cross it. However, they were crossing, they saw a dead man's body underneath the ice. Turns out it was the owner of the hut. After rechecking the map, Tom and Eleanor felt warmer. A loud howl came to be heard in the distance. Could it be the beast? Probably it was, or the cubs. Silver leaps on to the ice. Tom and Eleanor tried to stop him, but they suddenly began levitating due to the portal in the sky. Eventually it stopped, and they assumed it didn't affect the animals because they were heavier than them, and eventually some hyena cubs came to meet with Silver, and they started shooting fireballs at him. Tom and Eleanor tried to help, but they were met with their mother, the beast. Tom used his red jewel from Gorgonia to understand the beast's name is Carnivora. Tom's sword was broken due to its weakened state, and the beasts have tough fur. Tom tried to pull out his fishing spear, but Carnivora was coming in fast. Also, Carnivora can shoot fireballs from her mouth, hence how the hut owner died. Eleanor shoots with her crossbow. Tom tries to fight off Carnivora. She lands on the ice near Storm, and the combined weight shatters the area of the lake. Tom distracts Carnivora while rescuing Storm. Then she uses shards of ice as arrowheads and shoots them at Carnivora. And when Carnivora blasted, they reacted to it and at many icicle splinters in her body. However, their fight short when they're being lifted in the air, and the portal had got them in its suction once again. Tom grabbed Silver and secured them to the ground. However, Carnivora's cubs were not so lucky. She vowed revenge, but Tom fended her off, having at mercy point. She was sent in the portal, and the last beast was gone. They were now in the woods, thanks to Oridu, who was actually here and now had acquired his spellbook. He showed them the rebel army with Jude, Freya and Dalaton as they got their weapons back, Tom's sword and shield and Eleanor's bow and quiver of arrows. Tom raised his sword for freedom of Tavania. Only problem is, if you're reading this book for the sake of the beast fight, you're gonna not get much, but I'll get into that at the end. Freya separated the army into two groups, one with Freya, the other with Dalaton. While Eleanor led the archers, Dalaton made speech, and they charged into castle on horseback, similar to Lord of the Rings with speech. The rebels fight Malvel's men, while Tom and Oridu see Malvel in a turret. However, they realized no matter how many they would be, more would come, so Tom told Dalaton to call the beasts, as he was now master of the beasts in Tavania. The beasts arrive and grant them the upper hand, allowing Tom and Eleanor to Storm and Silver to slip into the castle. But then they reached the throne room. Oridu told them that Malvel knew he was done, so he escaped for a portal to Avantia. So he told them to go and stop him, but Tom didn't want to leave his mother. Eventually he was agreed to, and they attempted to enter the portal, only to have a blast of energy come from it, and it killed Oridu. Another Oridu appeared, and it was revealed that the one on the floor, lifeless, it was Malvel. He was planning to trick them into going into the portal, which led to Gorgonia, but Oridu showed up, changed the portal to lead to Avantia. The Dark Wizard pushed them aside and headed through the portal, but Tom and friends grabbed hold of him, and they fighted through the portal, while Malvel's soldiers rushed in to save the king. While Freya fended them off, Tom tried to call his mother to get her in the portal before it closed, but she couldn't hear. When a soldier tried to free Malvel, Silver rushed back, pushed the soldier back into Tavania, then the portal closed, leaving Freya and Silver trapped in Tavania. And then we end the final part with they all crashed near King Hugo's castle. Malvel was brought to the king and the wizard Adaro to face justice for his crimes, and he was imprisoned with Adaro's magic. However, they had to break the news that Mark was killed by Malvel, and Freya and Silver were still in Tavania. Tom told Eleanor they would reunite again, they would get their friends back, and he lost his mother once, and now he lost his mom again. He related to her pain more than anyone. But Tom also felt that Malvel's games weren't over, and that's how Series 7 ends. Overall, Series 7, the last book of it, I will say, if you're looking for a beast fight, like I said before, you'll get it, just not much of it. But I will say, for the overall plot of this thing, they separate it up into two halves. At the chapter 5 or 6, they stop the beast, and the remaining chapters are stopping Malvel himself. And if that's a good way of doing your finale, I will say. So it's better than other finales, I will say that. And this book also has a good sacrificing message here, with friends being left in places, friends dying. I do like to see people dying, but not really, but it has consequences to people's actions because they didn't save everyone. But still, I do like this book, and I will say it's probably a better... The Beast story itself is probably a better version than Luna, only because Luna was so underrated, but I might need to go back and look at that review to be fully sure. But this book overall, I would say... Did I say? If I said... I think I said Crestor and Madara were the two best ones. This one, I say, is better than Elack, but not as good as the Madara and the Crestor one. And that's my thoughts on that. But this has been Series 7, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will be doing Series 8 later on. It will take quite some time to get that out, but that's coming soon, so that'll be all, and good day to you, and have a Merry Christmas when it comes.